Hey there folks, Ian Finley here. This is my response to the questions from the young performers in Midsummer. I figured it would be just easier for me to make a video and say what I was going to type rather than typing it all up. I can give you a little bit more detail that way as well. So, the questions that were given. Best audition tips. Okay, so a couple things to keep in mind here. One, have fun with it. Because if you stress too much, two things are going to happen. Two things. One, you're not going to do as well. Two, you're going to start hating the process of auditioning. And because doing theater means going through a lot of auditions, having a negative feeling about the audition process, feeling really stressed about the audition process, feeling really scared about the audition process, is going to make that a painful thing, and therefore doing theater becomes painful. If you can look at the audition process as a positive thing, as potentially a fun thing, then that becomes a lot easier. And you also do better. I remember distinctly auditioning for a show. It was a very unusual audition circumstance because the lead role had already been cast. It was this great British actress, and she was actually reading opposite everyone who auditioned. Now, I knew I was not going to get cast in this show. There wasn't a role for me in this show. But I wanted to have a chance to do just one scene opposite this really great British actress. So I went in and I auditioned, and I had a fantastic time because I knew I wasn't going to get cast. And I had such a good time that I did a good job in the audition, and I got cast, even though there was not a clear role for me in the show. So it's really important to actually just enjoy the process. Don't put a lot of weight on it. Because if you don't get cast in one thing, there's always going to be another show. There will always be another show. And keep in mind that most auditions, even good auditions, the answer is still no. Not because you're a bad actor, not because you're a bad person. People get all kinds of crazy about auditions, but because there may not have been a role that was a good fit for you, or maybe your schedule didn't work out. Keep in mind that even for professional actors, most auditions end with no, and that's fine, because no one keeps track of the no's. The only thing that count are the yeses, the times that you do get into a show. No one keeps an anti-resume of all the shows that they didn't get into. That would be crazy. It would drive you crazy. So if you audition, great, fantastic. And if you get in, fantastic. And if you don't get in, forget about it. Move on to the next thing, because there's always going to be another show. It doesn't mean that you're not good. It doesn't mean that the director doesn't want to work with you. It means that there wasn't a fit that time. So forget about it. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge the other people who did get in. And just move on to the next thing. It will make your life much easier, and it will make you better at the process of auditioning. Okay, other things. Ways to overcome nerves. The great thing about the human brain is it can only do one thing at a time. So if you are really focused on your scene, on what you're doing on stage, you can't be nervous. Your brain can't do both of those things at once. So if you're really focused on listening to your scene partner and reacting honestly to what they give you, if you're really focused on what your character wants and trying to get that thing that they want every time you open your mouth, if you're really focused on those things, on what you're doing on stage, then there's no room in your brain to get nervous. Now, that doesn't stop you from getting nervous before you go on stage, and that's even today, that's when I start to get nervous. But if you spend that time before you're on stage, again, focused on what do I do next, what's my blocking, do I need a prop for this scene, am I in the right place? As long as you remain perfectly focused on what you're doing, your brain won't have time to be nervous. And if you do get nervous, a great director I worked with told me once, the human body's response to nervousness is the exact same as the human body's response to excitement. Rapid heartbeat, shallowness of breath, clammy hands. It's the same whether you're excited or you're scared. So if you start feeling that, just allow yourself to accept, well, this is just me feeling excited, which theater should be exciting, rather than, oh, I must be feeling scared. It's that little shift. Other questions. How to begin preparing at an early age to make the best choices to have the best chance to get into a college program. The thing to keep in mind is that college programs are what we call holistic. They look at the whole person. They do not just look at your audition when you audition for the program. They look at everything that you've done. So being a well-rounded person in elementary school and middle school and high school is going to be the thing that really lines you up for the very best college programs, which means doing lots. It means doing shows, but it means doing things besides just doing shows. It means writing or being on the tech side of things, or it means being in choir or in band. The more things that you do in several different areas and you can show an expertise at, the more appealing you will be to most schools. This goes into this very detailed next question. For a child with strength in two areas, is it better to take time off from doing shows to focus on that third area, because we're thinking of the three areas of performance, right? Acting, singing, and dancing. Those are the three areas that are considered important if you're going to musical theater. Remind you, not all theater is musical theater, but those are the three sort of areas. So the question is, if you're weak in one of those, is it a better time to take off and polish that, or to focus on being shows? I strongly recommend just doing shows. Because not all plays require all three things. You don't need to act and sing and dance in every show that you do. But every show that you do will increase your ability as a performer. So unless for some reason you are only focused on musical theater, which I think is a bad choice, frankly, because there's so much other great theater out there. I love musicals. Most of the shows I'm in are musicals, but it's not the only thing out there. So by worrying too much about being, that triple threat actor, singer, dancer, and only doing that and being like hyper obsessive about that, you're going to cut yourself off from the joy of doing other sorts of theater, and you're going to cut yourself off of the skills that you build doing many shows. How old was I when I started acting? I acted a little bit when I was a little kid. My first show, I was 7. I was in Oliver. I wasn't very good. And then in high school, I got serious about acting during my junior year. And then I've been acting seriously from that point on. So seriously since I was about 17, and professionally for about the last 15 years or so. Did you go to college to study theater? If so, where? Yes, I did. I was lucky. I went to the actor training program at the University of Utah, which is what's called a conservatory program. It's very focused, but it was on the campus of a larger school, so I got to do larger things as well. So that was my undergraduate career. I was there for 4 years, and then I went to New York University to the Tisch School of Performing Arts, and got my graduate degree there, not in acting actually, but in playwriting, because that's the other thing that I love to do. Do you have another full-time job, or are you a full-time theater artist? I'm really, really lucky because I'm a theater teacher at a really amazing school, Research Triangle High School, and it means that I get to do theater all the time. Part of that is teaching theater, part of that is directing shows here, and then part of that is working professionally out in the community, writing plays and acting and directing, like with Midsummer. So I have sort of the best of both worlds in that I get to do theater all the time. I haven't had to have a day job per se, but it's been able to make it so I can pay rent and all that kind of stuff as well. Any college or other post-high school training advice? Have fun. Do shows. Don't worry about it so much, because there's a thing that happens with young actors where they think, oh, it's really high stakes and you need to be a diva, and just forget that. Please forget that, because it's wrong and it's bad. It will get in your way. It will make you unhappy. Have fun doing theater. Do lots of theater. Try out for lots of things. Get not cast in things many times, because the failures don't matter. The only thing that matters are when you do get in and you get to work with a great bunch of people, and fall in love with that. Always do a show because you love doing shows, never because, oh, I think I'm better than this person, or I want that person to like me. Let your ego get out of the way, because ego makes things less fun. Just enjoy yourself. And believe it or not, that not only makes it more fun for you, it also makes you a better theater artist. Lastly, any recommendations of places for drama classes? I used to teach at Burning Coal Theater Company. They do a great summer theater conservatory for middle school and high school students. That's a really great program. If you're really interested in musical theater, North Carolina Theater has their conservatory, which is a very intensive program throughout the year, but it really focuses on all the sort of musical theater things, singing and dancing and acting, all those things as well. And just be involved in your program at your high school or your middle school. Wherever you can do theater is always a good thing. So, yay, bye.